What's up, people? My name is Skunky, and I also go by Skunk Commentary, and welcome to Skunkworks. Today, we are gonna talk about the romance genre when it comes to books and movies. Now, I'll start this off and be clear about the fact that I do not dislike everything that has to do with the romance genre. I, for example, really love the movie Titanic. I think it's a great movie. But that is because it is serious and it doesn't only focus on a couple and how everyone should be like them. Or let's just talk about this issue in general and why I personally dislike the genre and the many faults it has. So now, my first problem with the romance genre is fanfictions. Now, fanfictions doesn't have to be a bad thing. There are a lot of decent fanfictions out there, I can almost bet. But fanfictions about real people, now that is firstly very disrespectful. And also, isn't that like writing... Yeah, I'm not gonna even talk about the problem that is. But that's where my first issue with this genre comes up. After. It is one of my least favorite series of all time. So firstly, it is based on a fanfiction on Wattpad about how the author wants to fuck Harry Styles. Now, our boy Harry, he's an okay looking guy, not gonna lie, but he's not my type person, and I personally do not support him. But that's just because his genre music, if my memory doesn't fade me, he is in One Direction, and that's band just not my style music. I personally like listening to Ice Nine Kills or Hollywood Undead. You know, everyone has different but everyone has different tastes, so I'm not gonna hate on it. But how the fuck a Wattpad story can turn into a book series is understandable in one part. But from what I've heard, because I have enough self-respect to not read it, it is not very good. And if my memory doesn't fail me, Harry Styles has blocked the author, Anna Todd I think she's called. He has blocked her on social media. Great for you, Harry. Now you won't have to hear about how she wants to bang you all the time. And what that also makes is, it also makes a problem, kind of, because that makes it that everyone can become the next hotshot author by releasing a story on Wattpad about how you want to suck a famous person's dick. Is it only me that sees a problem with that? Or am I just overreacting here? I mean, I am a bit afraid of how much there's written about some people I support, for example Stephen King. Is there really people out there that wants to write stories about fucking Stephen King? Because he has a wife, and I think it's very disrespectful towards him and his family. But yeah, anyway, also another problem with the whole romance genre thing is that when it comes to these stories, they are very often poorly written. For example, Stephen King himself, my idol, has gone out and talked about what he thinks about Twilight. He said he didn't like it and that he stopped reading it. which I'm just gonna say that is fun. That is funny. Because when even Stephen King dislikes something, yeah, his criticism towards Twilight was that it wasn't really about vampires and all that. It was about how a girl wanted to get, quote unquote, the perfect guy. And I'm also gonna say this about Twilight. Isn't that necrophilia? Because vampires are in mythology rotting corpses. Yeah, I'll just leave it. I'll leave it at that. I'll just leave it on that. But let's go back to After and how disrespectful it is towards poor Harry. Also, the book series, if my memory fails me, they are pretty poorly written, and I do not really get how much content you can milk, so to speak, from someone wanting to smash Harry Styles. I don't even know what I'm gonna say, man. Also, the movies are not very good. They're meh acting at best, and the characters, you can't really sympathize with them because of how much bad people they really are. And that's saying something. If you make your protagonist feel like really bad people, then that is really bad. But it's not. I get it if you are trying to make your character be a bad person. For example, if you really think that Alex from A Clockwork Orange is a good guy, then you are completely wrong. He's meant to be a bad guy. He's meant to be posted on that pure evil wiki. He's not meant to be a great guy. He's meant to be a sicko. And the book is about how society is treating sickos. I think this is where you can get an achievement. If I'm... Okay, never mind. I'll try that. Vegan teacher will probably hate me after this video too, so whatever. But let's just move on to another problem I have with After. If that shit really got turned into a major book franchise, then what about all the other books that has been cancelled or not released because they just haven't had a great enough story? Meanwhile, someone wanting to fuck Harry Styles is a great enough story to get released. Now, from my experience from trying to release books, which is none, because I haven't done that yet, but I love writing, and from what I've heard from a friend who has released books, is that a book company will, in most cases, not release a book if it isn't 100% a success. Which is really bad for the kind of authors that has a great view on society, for example. For example, I do not think that H.P. Lovecraft could have released books today because his stories are not about, yeah, this book is gonna get released and become a bestseller immediately. So, yeah, I don't even know what to say. But let's then talk about The Kissing Booth. Now, that movie is basically a girl tries to tame the evil beast. I'm not gonna mention what happened there, but yeah, and they even mentioned in the movie how in hell, how the guy, I'm not even care about remembering his name, how he was a bad boy who went to therapy, and that didn't make him better. But apparently a girl can do that. Firstly, that is extremely false, because that would just fuel the kind of ideas that led to people wanting to free Jeffrey Dahmer and Charles Manson. I'm so sorry for that. And even, what's his name now again? Ted Bundy. I think that idea in the society nowadays even helped to create that whole situation where, oh, this guy can't go to jail, he's too cute. I fucking hate that shit. When people try to free a murderer because he's apparently attractive. Yuck. Now, I think personally that now what you people might think now is that, oh, Skunk Commentary just hates the romance genre. No, absolutely not. I really like Titanic, for example. I think that is one of the best movies ever made. So, I do not hate the romance genre. I'm just gonna say that, and I also love The Crow, which is kind of a romance movie. Because it is basically about how a guy wants to get revenge for his girlfriend's death. And why do I love Titanic and The Crow? Well, because they are not about two people banging, breaking up, and arguing, and then getting together again. I do not think that is a productive and good story at all. I personally think that the kind of romance that they use in Titanic or The Crow is better. But no. Do I dislike them just because it's teenagers and because I am around that age and I'm single and I'm jealous? Oh, absolutely not. Because most often these stories aren't even about finding real relationships, and how real is the relationships in the Kissing Booth or Twilight. And I'm just gonna say the acting in those movies is also pretty bad. I think the guy played Edward in Twilight, the vampire dude. I don't remember this guy's name though, which I think is sad because of how much I've heard about this story. And yeah, now he has said that that was one of his worst roles. And one thing I am mad about in Twilight is that it is about vampires, but they fail to make vampires. They fail to make the mythos appropriate. They fail at really. They really fail at because firstly, vampires do not shine in sunshine, or they do not. They have nothing really that in common with 12 vampires, because they're rotting corpses. They're not immortal superhero things. Yuck. But let's just move on. I'm generally starting to get tired of this necrophilia bullshit. Yes, Twilight is necrophilia. I don't care what you say. This feels a lot better by the way to use in COD. But anyway, let's move on to... Well, I was gonna say... I want to ask you guys, what do you guys think about this? I personally also think that movies like Kissing Booth and After and Twilight, they romanticize this idea about abusive relationships, which is really bad in a society where suicides are a lot more common and often seen as an easy way out. And how it's really romantic to get abused in a relationship. That is not romantic at all. If I was in a relationship like that, I would get out as early as possible. Because that is not romantic. That is horrible. It leads to a lot of misconceptions about how a relationship even should be. So, now let's move on to something. How can you make a good rom-com that I would enjoy, or romantic movie that I can enjoy? Well, don't make it about don't make it about people that you're supposed to sympathize with that are complete douchebags. I think that would be a good first step. And then maybe move away from the abusive part of it, because it generally just gives off a bad message. Also in these movies, I'm not gonna bring that topic up too much in this video. I might do that shit in another video, but also make the characters feel like real people, not the those luxury living pieces of shit rich kids. Also one thing, they're always rich white kids whose parents has made a living, or they're super poor and need to find a way to go to some university, but that is just a side plot, because in reality the story is just about them banging each other. I'm so fucking tired of this topic. I'll just stop making this video. Do you like rom-coms? If so, good for you. I personally think that this genre is just a romantic movie. I think this genre could just be better. By the way, I'm just gonna end with a quote from a person I've heard of from an interview with Quentin Tarantino, where he said there was a person on the Twilight premiere that said Nosferatu did not shine. That kid was a fucking hero. Because yes, Nosferatu did not shine. Nosferatu did just vanish in thin air when he saw the sun. All power to Count Orlok. My boy Count Orlok is a fucking king. But anyway, take care until the next. Take care until the next episode of my YouTube videos. See you next time.